The biggest day in the history of the universe, even for precious metals, the silver price and gold price. The election day has arrived. We're going to talk about what it means for the price of gold and silver in this video. But I also want to give you a little sneak peek and primer, because later we're going to talk about gold, a period of time when it went up 78 times, 7,800%. And why, unarguably, the setup that we're in right now is even more favorable for even more extreme price increases in gold and silver. We're going to talk about all of that right now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the basement. Please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and super chats and super thanks are always super appreciated. I missed a super chat yesterday from our good friend Cliff Moberg. So thank you, Mr. Cliff, for the super chat. And he brought up an idea of maybe having some 10-ounce Ron's Basement silver bars made up. And some people thought that was a good idea. Let me know what you guys think on that. Maybe I can talk to the guys at Pinbex and see how we might be able to facilitate that. But thank you, Cliff, as always, for your insights and your contributions to the channel. Now, let's talk about the big election. What does it mean? Hello, Don Howe. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. I'm doing some offsite. We have a family event that we're at, so it's a little harder for me to see everything that's going on, but I'll promise, guys, I'll do my best. But let's talk about the election. What does it mean for the silver price and gold price? I found this very, very interesting because everybody's talking about, I mean, the next 24 hours could be crazy in silver and gold. What I told you was the one thing we can say for certain that's going to happen over the next 24 to 36 hours, maybe even longer, is uncertainty. Nobody can tell you. But the World Gold Council did some investigative work and came out with some interesting data about gold and silver price after the election. They did a study starting in 1972 and found that gold and silver do not really react to whether it's a Democrat or a Republican. No big definitive difference depending on which party comes to power on the silver and gold price. So are things different now? Sure, right? This is one of the most contentious elections that we've ever been through. But, you know, there's something else major that's different going on right now, and that is the financial situation that either of these candidates will find themselves in if and when they are elected. That is different, okay? And neither party is making a point to address this. Neither one, okay? The debt and deficit are skyrocketing, and the interest expense that you pay and I pay on a daily basis as U.S. citizens is also absolutely skyrocketing. No matter what happens, guys, at the end of the day, we still have a massive, massive debt, deficit, and interest expense problem in this country. And what is inflation, right? Inflation. Look, no matter how you slice it or dice it, no matter what smoke and mirrors you apply to it, inflation is going to absolutely rule the decade for the next 10 years. We look out to 2034. I'm telling you guys, we are in for an inflationary issue like we have never, ever faced before. Hold on here. Now I can see. I did. Todd, thank you, Todd Warsaw and Don Howe for the super chats. There you are, guys. You're on the screen now. Inflation is what we're going to be dealing with. And inflation, okay, can be defined very simply. Very simply, inflation can be defined as the increase in the M2 money supply. That's what any top economist will tell you. That's what they've known for decades. If you increase the money supply, if there's more dollars being created, that dilutes the value of the dollar, that creates inflation, and that is what will rule absolutely the silver price and gold price as we move forward. I was just talking to my dad this morning, and he's not an economist. He's not somebody like us that digs in. And I was explaining to him, I'm like, that's how they've stolen from you over the last 10, 20, 30 years, right? My dad's a middle-class guy, very frugal, very smart, but he's not into money. He's not into economics. And And I said, for whatever amount, let's say you had $100,000 in the bank, right? Because of inflation, right? They've stolen from you. We were talking about the political situation in the country and how there's, so much hatred on each side. And I said, what people don't really realize is they should be very angry. Not necessarily, this is not a political show, not at the other party, but at the Fed. The Fed's who's really stuck it to them over the last 20 or 30 years, right? That 100K that you had in the bank 5 years ago now only buys the equivalent of 75,000 of what it would have bought 5 years ago. If even that, my gosh. Have you been to the grocery store lately? Where was I last night? Oh, we went to dinner last night at a place called the Shrimp Basket that we've gone to for the last 10 years. And we were walking out and Susie was like, I remember we used to come here and we could get like a plate or a sandwich for like $10. Everything has doubled. You know it. I know it. That's how there's inflation. And guess what else though? The gold price, the silver price, they kind of doubled over that same period of time, right? So that's why as we look out into these next coming years, that's what will be happening regardless. And look, I know I have my views on this big presidential race. I'm sure you do as well. But at the end of the day, guys, the reason why we want to own silver and gold is because we are in a difficult situation that's not at all getting any better. Let's do our daily field trip, basement dwellers. Thank you again, Don and Todd, for the super chats. Super appreciated. Okay, I want to go out and let's take a look because we're hitting some very critical time periods right now. Here we are at the U.S. debt clock. Guys, we're almost there. $35,973 billion in national debt. Don't forget, this is our deficit. This is the amount that we are spending as a country that is in excess of the amount of money that we are bringing in, right? We're bringing in what, 5 trillion? Apparently we're spending 7 trillion. That doesn't work. All that gets added into this, the new U.S. national debt. And all of this creates this interest expense, which very soon will hit $1 trillion. Look next to the interest expense. We're spending more on interest than we are on defense. I think we're spending like 20% of the tax revenues. That means 20 cents out of every dollar that you pay in taxes now goes to pay interest expense. Interest expense. You get nothing for that. You get nothing. Sorry. No soup for you, right? Every dollar you send into the U.S. Treasury, when you pay your taxes, 20%, soon it'll be 25%, then it'll be 30%. Pretty soon, all the money that we pay in taxes will just go to pay interest. It doesn't work. And this number will only continue to skyrocket because as countries figure this out, which they are, the BRICS countries, right? They're not going to want to finance this 36 trillion, 38, 40, 50 trillion dollars of national debt. Now, we talked about the M2 money supply earlier and what that means and what that is inflation. Here that is right here, the US M2 money supply. Oh boy, I hope I got you guys on the right screen, which I do. Okay. That now sits at $21 trillion. But as you can see, our government is continuing to print money, basically, no matter how increasing the US M2 money supply. And what we love to look at, oh boy, I wonder if it went up today, the dollar to silver ratio, because what this measures is that increase in the M2 money supply, all right, relative to each 1 ounce of silver that's created every year, that's mined out of the ground or comes through recycling efforts. And guys, that continues, right? For each 1 ounce of silver, we're now getting $965 of printed unicorn fart dust M2 money being pushed into the system. We are in a spiral. We are in a not good situation. But since we're here, 965, let's go out to our little spreadsheet and update. Oh, hold on. We're perfectionists here. 965. As you can see, I mean, look at this number. My gosh, it hasn't even been a month. It's been 2 weeks. We've gone from being at $729 being created for each 1 ounce of silver being created, all the way to 965. Are you seeing a trend? Are you seeing what I am when we look at these numbers? And it is downright frightening, okay? Downright frightening. Debt is destroying our country. Even our own government now is pointing that out. Okay, we've got the government figures that show the growth in the debt and what it looks like in the coming years. And guys, the government's pointing it out to us. Okay, the trend of deficits, higher debt, and interest expense will continue. Let's go, and then we're going to come back and talk about gold going up by 78 times. But let's go check out and do our daily check on the Shanghai Gold Exchange. Here's our friend, the Oriental Ghost. Thank you again for your data. I want to point, we need to check on the silver price here too. What the heck? What do you say, basement dwellers? But we'll do this first. The Shanghai Gold Exchange, SGE. There's silver, AG, on the Shanghai Gold Exchange, $34.93. Because it's election day, we're going to round up. We're going to say that in China, silver is selling for $35 per ounce. For those of you who are new, that is important because the Shanghai Gold Exchange, and we emphasize the high because for silver, the price always seems to be significantly higher, is a physical market. It's a physical market. You got to have the physical. It's not like the United States and the London Bullion Market Association where you can trade whatever, make-believe silver, fantasy land, fantasy island silver. And I'm telling you, the Chinese and the Indians and the Russians, right, even the Brazilians, they're all looking at that saying, you guys have fun with your make-believe silver, but we're going to deal with the real McCoy. All right. And when this all comes home to roost, the COMEX and the LBMA are going to be in big, big, big trouble. Because think about this. Remember what happened in the nickel market not too long ago. Nickel's a metal. And on the London Metal Exchange, the market broke. Okay. The market broke. That same thing. It's important. The reason why that's important is because that same thing can happen with the silver market. Look, there have been people, including me, who have spent decades learning about this, and it is real, right? The silver shortage is real. And the fact that, look, just because the silver market never has broke doesn't mean that it never will, right? We suffer from recency bias. We suffer, it's like recency bias is so critical for you to understand, for me to understand as a precious metals investor, because, right, when it comes to our financial system, when it comes to our national debt, that's recency bias. Those are the people, when you talk to them, right? You said, oh my God, have you seen the national debt? Ron from Ron's Basement says it's $36 trillion. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. We've always had a big national debt. It's never been a problem. And you know what? They're right, right? They're right. We always have had that big. Thank you, Silver Surfer. I'll read that in 1 second. We've never had a big problem. That doesn't mean that we're never are going to have a big problem. Right? Think about the British Empire. For centuries, they ruled the world. They never had a big problem until they did, until their debt got out of control. So this recency bias is real, and it's something that you really need to pay attention to. Hold on. Let's go see what Silver Surfer has to say. He's a great contributor. As a trader, I went long silver for the first time the day after Trump was elected in 2016. Never look back, no regrets. Thank you, Silver Surfer. Thank you for your comment. And I told you guys earlier in the week, maybe on Saturday and Sunday, my gut tells me we are going to have much higher silver prices by the end of this week. I just feel it. Now, my feeling is usually right, but oftentimes wrong. But Silver Surfer, we'll see what happens tonight with the election. Let's go out and check on the silver price, guys, because there is a lot happening today, and we want to stay on top of things. This is not updated, so let's press the button. Everybody, take a deep breath. Last time, about 20 minutes ago, silver was up 35 cents, and silver's up 38 cents. Woohoo! Gold up 11 bucks. Hey, remember, we can have some massive volatility, but we won't complain when the price is up. I want to say thank you. Right? And I want to talk to you about Pimbex, guys. They sponsor Ron's Basement. They make this possible. They're an online bullion dealer where you can get gold, silver, platinum group metals. They always recommend, right? Stack responsibly, dollar cost average. These guys are really, really providing the stacking community a great service, the basement dweller community a great service. They have ultra competitive prices, great selection, right? And number one, it's a company that I know I trust, and I know I feel very comfortable and confident recommending them to you because I think that you can trust them too. Now, I can't make any decisions for you. You're your own basement dweller, your own whatever you want to call yourself, right? But you really might benefit from considering checking out Pimbex next time you're in the market for gold, silver, or platinum group metals. I get emails from you guys saying, Ron, thank you. I got one the other day. I read it to you guys. The guy's like, I saved $995 buying from Pimbex relative to the other place that I used to buy from. In Coin Shop, Chris and I, right, he would go through these examples. I mean, it really, and you're getting the exact same silver, the exact same gold. You get the exact same metal, right? An American Silver Eagle is American Silver Eagle, right? Real legitimate stuff. Please check out Pimbex. All right, let's move on. Oh boy, we got so much going on. Let's talk about gold. This is crazy. This is the smartest guy in the room, the smartest gold and silver guy in the room that's writing. And I'm going to give you unbelievable information and a big happy surprise for you and me as silver and gold investors when he talks about the big picture with silver and gold, the big reason why you want to hold silver and gold. Now, I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just reporting the news, but this is good news. And let's get into it right now. This comes from right here, Egon von Gires. Okay. He is the smartest guy in the room. I think he's in Switzerland. All right. Gold, best asset in 2000s, but you ain't seen nothing yet. Guys, it gets better. Wait till you get a load of what he's talking about. And I'm not going to read every detail of this article, but he stated unsustainable deficits, check, and galloping debt levels. I've never heard of it that way. I'm envisioning Lone Ranger or whatever. Galloping debt levels combined with a crumbling military are the perfect recipe for the end of an empire. Look, I love America. I love this country. My kids, I'm not anti-American. Make sure I got you on the right screen. But guys, empires do end. Bad things do happen, okay? History doesn't just rhyme, but it repeats itself over and over and over again. Let's just look at the final stages of a debt crisis. Wait till you see this chart. The table below shows the disastrous result of irresponsible governments during the last 54 years. 54 years. That would have been what, 1971? But look at this chart. When paper money dies, okay, in the year 1970, which happens to be the year that I was born, what year were you born? Huh? Right? We had that much debt, 0.4 trillion. That was the gold price, okay? And that was the baseline for the US dollar. If we go down this chart, if we just go to 1990, we had 3 trillion in debt. The dollar had fallen 92%. This was when Nixon took us off the gold standard, okay? We fast forward to 2020. Oh, we got to look at the gold price too. Look at the gold price, $35, okay? Don't worry, we're going to talk about 78x gold and why the next decades are going to be even crazier. This is happening faster and faster. If we go down to, let's just go to the current year, 35 trillion in debt. Gold, as you know, $2,740 per ounce. The US dollar has lost now 99% of its value. If we project these numbers forward to a 50 trillion debt, which I think it could be more, but let's just say 50 trillion by 2030, gold would be at 10,000 per ounce. And the US dollar would have fallen. I mean, we've fallen so much, but it would have fallen another 70% from where it is right now. If we go to 2040, we've got 100 trillion in debt. And again, these numbers could move much faster than that. Gold would be at 30,000, and we would have lost 99.9% of the value of the US dollar. That's the trajectory in which we are heading right now. But wait, there's more. There's more. There's a lot more. Okay, there's a lot more that we're going to look at from Ergon. But before we do that, I want to quickly say something to you. Thank you for being here today. This connection we have in the basement dwellers, is a big deal. Your time's important. You are important. You are a big part of this community. Wonderful people in the chat. So many friendships have been forged here. It's an honor for me to get to do this. I just wanted to say thank you. Gold and silver are important, right? And we're going to get back to the 78x gold thing. But relationships and people are even more important. You know, I'll tell you a quick story. My daughters and Susie were in a gift shop last night, and I made the smart decision to wait in our minivan, and my 84-year-old dad was sitting next to me, and he looked over, and he's got a cell phone, and he was like, I got a problem with my phone. Every time I go to take a picture, it makes me wait 2 seconds, and he had accidentally turned the timer on his phone, you know, when he would take a picture, so it would count down. And I said, Dad, let me see your phone. I looked, and I said, okay. So then I switched it to 10 seconds and I handed it back to him. I said, here, see if you like this better. And he was like, oh, no. I said, no, dude, the timer's on, and we fixed it. He was so happy, you know, and for some reason at that minute it hit me. I thought, this is what life is about. The gold and silver price, yes, those are important, right? And I don't know why I went through that story with you, but you're important. Our relationships, our friendships. I was talking to Coin Shop Chris last night on the phone. That's number one. Let's get back to gold and silver. I digressed again. All right, because Ergon, is it Ergon or Egon? Let's get that right. I'm going to be respectful to this man. Egon. You got to love that name, Egon. It's like, I'm going to change my name to Eron. Okay, but it gets better, guys. I'm just reading the highlights. In 1971, Nixon took away the dollar's gold backing. He said, your dollar will be worth as much tomorrow, right? Why did they have to do that? Well, you know, they remember 1971, President Nixon temporarily took us off the gold standard. If Tricky Dick was still alive today, he can, of course, argue that he didn't lie. Let's look at this. This is crazy. Okay. The dollar crash. The dollar's crashed. We've been through a crash, guys, and people don't even realize it. Since Nixon temporarily devalued the dollar in 1971, in spite of his assurances that the dollar in your pocket will be worth the same, right? The dollar, look at this, has gone down by 99%. Yes. 99%. And there's another 99. Remember that chart we looked at earlier? Another 99% fall ahead. Don't worry. We're going to get to the point where we have $7,800, our 7,800% price increase, because a dollar today is still worth a dollar. This is critical. Okay. So Nixon said, your dollar will be worth as much tomorrow as it is today. These are our politicians, right? You don't worry. Right. And a dollar still is a dollar. You guys remember Pat Holland? He's a great friend of the channel. He describes this as nominal confusion, right? A dollar is still a dollar. $100 bill is still $100 bill. So we get confused. Look, 15 years ago, if I gave you $100 bill or you gave me $100 bill, think about it. It was like, whoa, it's $100 bill. That's really nice. Today, if I hand you right now a $100 bill, you're going to be like, whoa, it's a $100 bill. It's really nice. It still has some value in our heads. We're confused. We're brainwashed, right? But you and I very well know that same $100 bill that I gave you 15 years ago would buy at least twice as much at the grocery store or the gas station or wherever you frequent. Twice as much. But in our minds, it's still, so Nixon said a dollar will still be a dollar. It'll be good. Everything's okay. Yeah, no, it's not okay. It is not okay. And it's going to get way, way, way worse. Okay. Okay. Because a dollar today is still worth a dollar, he would argue, but he wouldn't tell anyone that the dollar 53 years later would have lost 99% of its purchasing power. So now let's look at the gold price in dollars, okay? And here you have it. And then I got the big kicker for you that we need to consider, which is super exciting when we think about the silver price and the gold price. But Gold is up 78x, 7,800%. Since Nixon closed the gold window in 1971. Remember, a dollar still a dollar, but with 35 of those dollars in 1971, well, I think not till 1976, because that was technically when they allowed U.S. citizens to buy gold again. But you get the point. $35, $40 in 1976, you could buy an ounce of gold. $35 or $40 today, that doesn't even buy what does that buy? 1/100th, 1/80th of an ounce, right? Those same $40, $50, let's say $50 that you have back then, right? That you could buy an ounce of gold with today will buy you what? Like 1/50th of an ounce? Maybe, yeah, basically. Okay. That's what's happened. That's the reality. And yes, right? Gold did go up 7,800. And that's not the kicker. Gold is up 78x. Okay. The next phase will be acceleration. This is where it gets interesting, guys. Acceleration. It's the law of big numbers. It's the law of compounding interest. And that's where we are right now because of this. Let's go back up there. Okay. Right. Out of control. We're not going to spend much time there, but this number, right, is growing now exponentially. As I explained in this article, gold will rise by multiples in the coming years. Obviously, that will have corrections, right? It's not going to be a straight up. Then they talk about all the emperors, empires. This has happened before. Paper money eventually returns to its intrinsic value. Zero. Paper is paper. Zero. Spend those paper dollars while you can, right? And, look, I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow, but it's happening right now. Right now. When have we ever heard of a leader telling us that we must protect ourselves against the fraudulent destruction of our wealth by constantly debasing the value of money? What they're saying is, and that's what I tried to explain to my dad, hey, look, that's where they've really screwed you. Alan Greenspan, former Federal Reserve Chairman. Let me look you in the eye here, basement dwellers. I know it's a crazy day. It's election day. Everybody, I understand. But man, we can feel good about the fact that we are in silver and gold. Do you feel good? Right? It could be crazy these next 48, 36, 96 hours. But man, right? Here, I got a piece. Oh, look at that. Huh? Look at that. Doesn't it feel good to own some of that? Oh, man, doesn't it feel good? Huh? Yeah, it feels good. Now, where was I? Let's go back to our article. I think I'm doing good. Thank you guys for the super chats. Okay. This is Alan Greenspan, right? The federal, whatever he was, president, chairman, whatever, said, in the absence of the gold standard, there's no way to protect savings from confiscation through inflation. There's no safe store of value. Okay. The financial policy of the welfare state requires that there be no way for the owners of wealth to protect themselves. Okay. It's the shabby secret of the welfare statists. All right. I won't go through all that, but here we go. Now let's look at this. It's not just the United States of America. No, this is global debt. Look at this. Since 1971, global debt has gone from 44 trillion all the way up to in 2021. And we know now it's probably like 330 trillion US dollars. Guys, this does not end well. Global debt almost went up by 100 times, right? In the last 54 years. Are you kidding me? Oh, hold on here. When will it end? Okay, there we are. Christine Lagarde and Gomer Pyle with their print, right? Printing ink. Yeah, and those are all the people, right? They're just going to print money, okay? Very few, this is the last point I want to make. He says, very few will think of alternative investments like gold to preserve wealth until it's too late. Your neighbors, the sheeple, they're not going to wake up until it's too late. And then they're going to be like, wow, can you believe that we actually believed in paper money? Well, hey, don't say you weren't warned or the opportunity wasn't there, right? Okay. And at that point, gold will have gone up so much in value, and silver, with very few participating. There are very few people participating in this. Everyone will find gold too expensive. Very few will realize gold isn't going up, but paper money is going down. Okay, we're going to get back to more. You want to hear about shortages? Huh? Silver shortage? Silver gone? Silver? We're going to talk about your favorite subject, silver. I do want to say thank you to our other channel sponsors. Let's start with Fortuna Mining, active mining company, right? They're mining silver and gold in Latin America and an ever-increasing amount of gold in West Africa. They've got a big gold mine in Cote d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, that is doing very, very well. Big potential development stage project in Senegal and another operating mine in Burkina Faso. And guys, big news out today from First Mining Gold. They're a Canadian gold developer with 2 multi-million ounce projects in Canada. But we got some news out of them today. First Mining announces the submission of its final environmental impact statement, environmental assessment for the Springpole Gold Project in Ontario. That's a big deal. They've been working on that for 14 years. And it's a big milestone for the company to have gotten that out. So congratulations to the whole team at First Mining Gold. You can learn more about that on their website. The future looks bright. Look, I don't give investment advice, but I still say the mining stocks are cheap. Okay. They're not cheap. That's a bad word. I apologize. Erase that. They're probably one of the best values around right now and offering potential for incredible price appreciation, in particular, the development stage and junior stage companies. All right, let's talk about silver. I was listening to an interview with Andy Schechtman the other day, and this really hit home. Shortages. The available and I'm not quoting him here, I'm giving my input. The available investable gold and silver can be gone super quickly. Like we just talked about, what Irgan said, when people wake up, the available amount of investable silver, let's focus on silver, guys, can be gone in a lickety-split, flishity-flash, gone. We saw it happen during the little banking crisis 18 months ago. We saw it happen during the C-19 crisis. This is real. This can happen super, super quick, okay? And those are just 2 examples. I mean, what could come down the pipe, right, in terms of geopolitical turmoil, domestic turmoil, financial crisis could be much bigger, and we could see silver can get wiped out so fast. Actually, last week, I was talking with Mike, one of the owners of Pimbex, and he had told me, he's like, we're starting to see, we're not saying there's a shortage, okay, but he said we're starting to see some stress at certain parts of the silver market, right? It takes nothing. It just takes, because this is such a big deal now with all these online bullion dealers like Pimbex and the host of other ones. I think Pimbex is best, but I digress. People can buy up all the investable silver in the matter of an hour. Do you know how different that is? Okay. And I just realized I forgot to tell you the big exciting thing about that gold going up 78x. I'm going to remember that here in a second. Okay. I apologize, but it's different now. Information goes so much faster. Look, in 1980, I was talking with some of the old coin shop guys at a coin show about 6 months ago. I said, what was it like in 1980 when there was this massive run up in silver? They were like, dude, we would come to the coin shop and there would be lines of 100 people. And there was no way that we could help all those people during the course of the day. It's like we would go out there and count like 40 people and then tell the rest, we're sorry, you really don't want to waste your time. Now, instead of those lines of people at the local coin shop, they can hop on this, right? their phone. You know, I could right now, right in front of you, buy a monster box from Pinbacks in 5 minutes, right? And know that it would be delivered in a week. I mean, it's different now. It's a big deal. It's a big, big, massive deal. Let me make sure. Okay, sorry. Somebody was texting me. Uh-oh. Here we are. I think we're back. Hopefully we're still live. It's a big, big, big deal. Sorry. Here we go. Silver and gold are different. Okay. How many people? Okay, this was Andy Schechtman said this in so many different words, but it's true. Like, who do you know? Huh? Silver, you're a silver and gold investor. I'm a silver and gold investor. Who do you know that's looking to sell their silver or sell their gold? Do you know anybody looking to sell? Hardly anybody. I don't know anybody. I talked to CoinShop Chris last night. He wasn't telling me, hey, I think I want to sell my silver. No, I mean, look, I know we live in a bit of an echo chamber, but guys, there just aren't people that are like, oh, I made a mistake. Think about this. Right now, with gold at all-time highs, basically, with silver over $30 an ounce, we'll go check here in a second to get an update. Nobody's wanting to sell their silver. Do you want to sell your silver? Ask yourself that question. Maybe you do. I'm certainly, right? There's probably one or two of you are like, yeah, I want to get out and sell some, whatever. I've never sold an ounce. What I'm saying, the big critical point here is there aren't a lot of people that want to get rid of their silver and gold. What are you going to do? Put it in dollars? Come on, Eisenhower. Albert Eisenhower, Albert Einstein. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's wanting to sell. So the supply of investable silver and gold isn't going to skyrocket. No. Is it? No. It's not going to skyrocket. We know that. Okay. The other big thing, there is so much money. So too much money. You know what I'm saying? You know that song? More money, more money, more money. There's money everywhere coming out, printed money. There's money being printed. Oh, this is driving me crazy. Okay. Look at this. You think there's not money? There's money. There's debt. That's money being created. But let's just go down here real quickly. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of money. There's the M2 money supply. Oh, look at that. Just went up by 100K in the last 10 seconds. There is money everywhere. Everywhere. Okay. Where's that money? I'm going to see what Andy Schechtman had to say because I took some notes here. There's so much money. He said this in so many words. And again, I'm not quoting, but there's so much money out there available to move into the gold and silver market. 6 point. But what's the significance of the number 6.5? Well, it's real significant when you say trillion after it. $6.5 trillion sitting in money market accounts, cash accounts, bank accounts in this country. Guys, right? That's people's safe money. That's what's so exciting. So exciting. That's people's safe money. The stock market, right? They don't want to put that in the stock market to begin with. They certainly don't when it starts to crash. The bond market, real estate, real estate's done. Interest rates have got to go up, right? Do you see interest rates went up by 0.75 of a point since the Fed cut rates? Everything's done. Everybody is that right? Do you hear that? That's the sound of the sheeple. They're awake. They're starting to wake up, right? And they got $6.5 trillion that needs a new home. So that's their safe money. Why is that so important? Because that safe money, they're going to, when they realize that they're losing value by keeping it in a money market account when interest rates, real interest rates are negative, they're going to say, I won't do it again. I promise. They're going to say, well, my safe money, maybe I need to buy silver and gold. What do you think the Costco dads are the people buying gold and silver at Costco? We call those the Costco dads. I'm nothing against them. I've never been in a Costco. I'm a Sam's Club dad. But anyway, they're waking up. Those people are generally intelligent. The people I would say are value conscious. Think about that. If you shop at Costco, you're value conscious. You want to get a good deal. Why does that make sense that they're buying silver and gold? Yes, it does. Okay. We got more to talk about. Let's go check. Let's go. We're going to be courageous. We're going to go check on the silver and gold price at channel sponsor Pimbex. Okay, come on, baby. 35 cents. Okay, silver, $32.82. Gold up $6, 2,740. Hey, I also want to say thank you to channel sponsor DirtyMan Safes, right? This is the safe. You can be like a pirate, right? It's this really cool safe. You get to dig a hole. There's this big sleeve that you put into the hole. You get to bury this in the ground. It's guaranteed to last like 50 years. It's super cool. I was impressed. They sent me one, a couple of them actually, and I'm like, wow, this is, it way exceeded my expectations, right? Everybody's like, oh, you could just build it out. No, you could not just build this out of some PVC pipe. Sorry. Okay. And to me, it was a very cool, very well-designed product. And you know, I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? You could bury this in your yard. It's like you're a pirate. Where did the pirates bury their treasure? In the ground, right? But it's a cool product. Check it out. What I would say is this: if you know somebody who's a stacker, if you know somebody, stackers are usually hard people to buy Christmas gifts for. Maybe it's a Christmas gift you could consider for one of your stacker friends. I don't know. Well, and there's a discount code, RON10, that you can use if you decide to buy one. And I was impressed when they showed up at my house. So anyhow, shortages. Are we done there? Yeah, we're done. We're done. Okay. That's what's coming down the road, guys. This election, right? Be prepared for these ups and downs, but we'll see how it all plays out. It'll be interesting. I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you to the moderators. I saw Susie, Jake from Jake's Custom Parts, the one and only Annie Oakley, and hello, Clifton. Pirates make a map. Yeah, well, actually, the Dirty Man Safe comes with like a piece of grid paper, so you can draw a map, like where you buried it in your backyard. And it also comes with these metal balls they're called salting balls. You kind of spread them around on the ground, around like a perimeter where you put it, so that and so I think if you bury it 12 inches down, it's not detectable with a metal detector. But anyway, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a neat thing. Thank you, Clifton, and thanks again for your ideas. And Annie Oakley, I see you. Silver Sparky, good to see you. Hey, and today's Don Howe, thank you for the super chat. Todd, thank you. And of course, the one and only Silver Surfer, thank you. Guys, it's going to be a wild ride. Let's take some deep breaths. I'll talk to you soon. Be interesting tomorrow, right now, where the silver and gold price are beat. No matter what, right? Just if you get a little anxious like I do, just pick up one of these, right? It'll calm your heart. Have a great day. Okay. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.